Captain Myra stood on the bridge of her warship, staring at the empty space where the Kepler system used to be. 3 days ago, over 40 million people lived on 5 planets around that star. Now, there was nothing. Not even debris. Just empty darkness where an entire civilization once thrived. She touched the communication panel with a trembling hand. "This is Captain Mira, of the Valerian ship, Stormwind. Kepler system is, gone. No trace of planets, stations, or ships. Requesting immediate support." The reply came hours later from Hegemony Command. "Confirmed, Captain. That makes 17 systems lost in 8 weeks. Return to base immediately." 17 systems. 17 entire civilizations just vanished without warning. No distress calls, no battles, no survivors. The enemy struck like a disease, consuming everything and leaving only empty space behind. Back at Hegemony headquarters, the greatest minds in the galaxy sat around a massive table. 12 different alien species had formed the Hegemony 300 years ago to keep peace in their part of the galaxy. They had the best technology, the smartest scientists, and the most powerful weapons. But none of it mattered now. General Vex, a tall gray alien with 4 arms, slammed his fist on the table. "How can something destroy entire star systems without leaving any evidence? Our sensors detect nothing. Our probes find nothing. It's like these places never existed." Dr. Kala, the chief scientist, pulled up holographic displays showing the missing systems. "The pattern suggests something is moving from the outer rim toward our core worlds. Whatever it is, it's getting closer to our home planets every day." "What about our fleets?" asked Ambassador Tiaran, her blue skin pale with worry. "We have the most advanced warships in the galaxy. 3 of our best battle groups went to investigate the Vega incident," General Vex replied quietly. "They never reported back. Now Vega system is gone too." Far away on the edge of the galaxy, Earth spun peacefully around its yellow star. Humans had only learned to travel faster than light 50 years ago. They had built small colonies on 6 nearby worlds, but most of the galaxy considered them primitive and unimportant. Dr. Hyen-Woo Kim sat in his observatory, watching data streams from deep space sensors. As Earth's top space scientist, he monitored everything that happened in nearby star regions. Lately, the readings had been very strange. "Janae, come look at this," he called to his assistant. Dr. Janae Park hurried over to his workstation. "What is it, Professor?" Hyen-Woo pointed at the display showing gravitational wave patterns. "These readings don't make sense. Something massive is moving through space near the Centauri sector, but the gravitational effects are all wrong." Guinea studied the data. "Could it be a black hole?" "No. Black holes bend space in predictable ways. This is different. It's like space itself is being torn apart and put back together." Hyen-Woo frowned. "And look at this timeline. The disturbances are moving in a straight line toward our solar system. Meanwhile, the people on Earth's farthest colony at Proxima Centauri went about their normal lives. The small settlement had 20,000 people who mined rare metals and grew food in underground farms. Colony Administrator Lee Jun-ho was reviewing supply reports when his communication officer burst into his office. "Sir, we're getting some very weird readings from our deep space scanners," the young woman said breathlessly. "What kind of readings?" "Something big is approaching from outside the system. But it's not showing up on visual sensors at all. Only the gravitational detectors are picking it up." Lee Jun-ho followed her to the control room. The displays showed a massive gravitational disturbance moving toward their planet at incredible speed. But when they pointed their telescopes in that direction, they saw nothing but empty space. "Send a message to Earth immediately," he ordered. "Tell them we have an unknown contact approaching Proxima Centauri." Back on Earth, President Ji-hoon Park was sleeping when his emergency communicator woke him at 3 in the morning. The call was from General Taemin Lee, head of Earth's Space Defense Forces. "Mr. President, we need to talk. Something is happening at Proxima Centauri." 30 minutes later, the president sat in the underground situation room with his top advisors. Dr. Hien Wu had been rushed in to explain the strange readings his team had detected. "The gravitational disturbances are unlike anything we've seen before," Hien Wu explained. "Whatever is causing them seems to be affecting the basic structure of space itself." "Could it be aliens?" asked the president. "Maybe, but if it is there, technology is far beyond anything we can imagine." As they talked, new data arrived from Proxima Centauri. The colonists reported that stars in nearby regions were disappearing from their night sky. Not blocked by something, but actually gone. "Get me a direct line to Proxima Colony," ordered the president. But when the communication officer tried to connect, there was only silence. The quantum relay that provided instant communication across the light years was dead. Proxima Centauri, humanity's first interstellar colony, had gone quiet. Dr. Hien Wu stared at his instruments in growing horror. The gravitational readings from the Proxima system were showing impossible things. It looked like the space around the star was collapsing in on itself. "Mr. President," he said quietly, "I think our colony is gone." The last message from Proxima Centauri came at exactly 1432 Earth time. Colony Administrator Li Junho's voice crackled through the quantum communicator, filled with terror and confusion. "Earth Command, this is Proxima Base. Something impossible is happening here. The sky is breaking apart. I can see through it to somewhere else, somewhere dark and empty. The stars are falling into the cracks like water down a drain." Dr. Hien Wu Kim listened from the Earth Command Center, his hands shaking as he adjusted the receivers. Static filled the transmission, but Junho's voice came through in broken pieces. "The air itself is coming apart. People are, ... Oh God, they're dissolving. Not dying, just ... stopping, like they never existed. The buildings, the ground, everything is just ... Wait. Something's coming through the cracks. Something huge, and..." The transmission ended in a scream that lasted 3 seconds. Then silence. President Ji-hoon Park stared at the communication equipment. "Get them back. Try everything." The technicians worked for 6 hours, using every method they knew. But the quantum relay to Proxima Centauri was completely dead. Not damaged or blocked, simply gone, as if it had never been built. Dr. So-young Choi, Earth's leading expert on dimensional physics, arrived at the command center 12 hours later. She had been studying the recordings of Junho's final transmission over and over. "Mr. President, I think we're dealing with something that exists outside our normal universe," she said quietly. "The description of space breaking apart suggests dimensional barriers being torn down." "What does that mean?" asked General Taemin Lee. "It means whatever destroyed our colony doesn't come from our reality. It comes from somewhere else entirely." 3 days later, long-range sensors detected something approaching Earth's solar system. It moved faster than light, but not in the way human ships traveled. This thing seemed to step through space itself, appearing and disappearing across vast distances. Captain Yan-suk, Han commanded Earth's most advanced warship, the Soul's Pride. She received orders to intercept the unknown contact before it reached the inner planets. Her crew of 200 prepared for humanity's first real contact with alien intelligence. But when they arrived at the intercept point, they found something that challenged everything they thought they knew about reality. "Captain, you need to see this," called Lieutenant Park from the sensor station. His voice was barely a whisper. On the main screen, space itself looked sick. A section of starfield about 10 kilometers wide rippled and twisted like water. Through the distortions, they could see another universe, one filled with darkness and dying stars. And through that cosmic wound, something was pushing its way into their reality. The entity that emerged defied description. It had no solid form, existing as a shifting mass of pure energy and consciousness. It was beautiful and terrible at the same time, like watching a galaxy being born and dying in fast motion. "All hands, battle stations," ordered Captain Han, though she had no idea how to fight something like this. The entity seemed to notice their ship. Suddenly, the soul's pride began to shake violently. Not from any external attack, but because the atoms that made up the hull were forgetting how to stick together. "Hull breach, on deck 5, reported the damage control officer. "But sir, there's no hole. The metal is just, not there anymore." Captain Han watched in horror as parts of her ship simply ceased to exist. Not destroyed or vaporized, but erased from reality, as if they had never been made. Her crew members screamed as the same thing began happening to them, not death, but complete removal from existence. She managed to send one final message to Earth before her communication equipment dissolved into nothingness. "This is Soul's pride. The enemy doesn't destroy things. It makes them stop being real. Tell Earth to run. Tell them to." The transmission ended as the ship and its crew were erased from reality. On Earth, emergency sessions ran around the clock. Every scientist, military expert, and government leader tried to understand what they were facing. Dr. Hyan Wu presented his analysis to the assembled crowd. "Based on our observations, the entity seems to feed on the fundamental forces that hold matter together. When it consumes something, it's actually breaking the bonds between atoms and absorbing that energy." "How many of them are there?" asked President Park. "Unknown, but we've detected similar dimensional tiers opening across this entire region of space. Whatever they are, they're not alone." Dr. Soyoung stood up, her face pale but determined. "I've been studying reports from the hegemony worlds. They're facing the same threat we are. Entire civilizations are being erased from existence. The aliens call these entities devourers because they consume reality itself." "What do the hegemony forces plan to do about it?" asked General Lee. "They're retreating to their core worlds and preparing traditional defenses. Weapons, shields, fortified positions. Will that work?" Soyoung shook her head. "How do you shoot something that can make your bullets stop existing? How do you hide behind walls that can be erased with a thought?" The room fell silent as the full scope of their situation became clear. Humanity faced an enemy that could rewrite the laws of physics, beings from another dimension, where entropy and chaos ruled supreme. They had already lost one colony and one warship without inflicting any damage in return. President Park looked around the room at Earth's best minds. "Then, we need to think differently. If conventional methods won't work, we need unconventional ones." "What do you have in mind?" asked Soyoung. "I don't know yet, but humans have always survived by adapting, by finding new ways to solve impossible problems. We're going to figure this out." Outside the windows, Earth's night sky looked peaceful and normal, but everyone in the room knew that appearance was deceiving. Somewhere in the darkness between the stars, cosmic predators were moving toward their world, bringing with them the power to make everything humanity had ever built simply stop existing. While alien fleets across the galaxy fell one by one to the devourers, Earth's leaders made an impossible decision. They gathered the strangest group of experts anyone had ever seen in one room. Dr. Soyoung Choi sat next to Master Woojin Nam, an old philosopher who had spent his life studying how the mind works. Across from them, famous artist Yoon Ji-yoon sketched patterns while talking to Dr. Minho Park, a quantum physicist. General Taemin Lee looked confused as he listened to a game theory expert explain probability mathematics to a poet. "This is crazy," muttered the general. "We need weapons, not a philosophy class." President Ji-hoon Park stood at the head of the table. "General, our best warship was erased from existence in 30 seconds. The aliens have been fighting these things for months with their advanced weapons. They're all losing. We need to try something completely different." Dr. Soyoung pulled up her research on the main screen. I've been studying the devourer that destroyed our colony. It exists as pure consciousness spread across quantum energy fields. It doesn't have a body like us. It's more like a living thought that can change reality. So how do we fight a thought? Asked artist Yunji. With other thoughts, replied philosopher Wu Jin quietly. If consciousness can change reality, then maybe other consciousness can fight back. The room fell silent. The idea sounded like something from a fantasy story, not real science. Dr. Minho Park, the quantum physicist, started writing equations on a whiteboard. Actually, quantum mechanics does suggest that consciousness affects reality at the smallest level. When we observe particles, we change how they behave. What if we could scale that up? You mean use human minds as weapons? Asked General Lee. Not weapons, something better. What if we could link human consciousness together and focus it like a laser beam? Engineer Minesio Han had been quiet until now. She was Earth's best expert on quantum computers and neural networks. I've been working on quantum entangled communication systems. Theoretically, we could link human brains across any distance instantly. Link how many brains? Asked the president. Minesio took a deep breath. All of them. Every willing person on Earth. 8 billion minds working as one. The room erupted in arguments. Some called it impossible. Others worried about the dangers of connecting so many minds. But Dr. So-young held up her hand for silence. The devourers exist as shared consciousness. They're already doing what we're talking about, just naturally. But they're beings of entropy and destruction. Humans are different. We create, we hope, we imagine better futures. What if human imagination could be more powerful than their reality-eating abilities? Over the next month, Earth transformed into the biggest construction project in human history. Engineer Minesio designed quantum entanglement arrays that were built in every major city. The devices looked like giant silver flowers with crystal petals, each one capable of linking millions of minds to the global network. Artist Yunji worked with psychologists to create mental training programs. People around the world learned meditation techniques, visualization exercises, and ways to focus their thoughts without losing their individual personalities. This isn't about becoming a hive mind, she explained to the volunteers. Think of it like an orchestra. Every musician plays their own instrument, but together they create something beautiful. Philosopher Wu Jin developed the theoretical framework for how billions of minds could work together without chaos. Individual thoughts are like raindrops, he taught. Alone, they can barely move a leaf. But together, as a river, they can carve through mountains. Dr. So-young discovered that human consciousness had a unique quality. Unlike the devourers, who saw reality as something to consume, humans instinctively tried to improve and protect what they loved. This emotional connection made their thoughts more stable and focused. The first test came sooner than expected. Earth's long-range sensors detected a dimensional tear opening near Mars. A devourer scout was entering the solar system. President Park stood in the main control center, surrounded by the quantum arrays. Around the world, 8 billion people sat quietly in their homes, offices, and public squares, connected to the network through small neural interface devices. Everyone ready? He asked Dr. So-young. She nodded, her eyes closed as she felt the vast network of human minds surrounding her consciousness like a warm ocean. We're all here, Mr. President. 8 billion people, thinking as one, on the monitors. They watched the devourer approach Mars orbital stations. The alien entity began its work, and the metal structures started dissolving into component atoms. Now, whispered So-young. 8 billion human minds focused on a single thought. The devourer did not belong in their reality. They imagined space, healing itself, atoms remembering how to stay together, and the cosmic wound sealing closed. The devourer stopped moving, for the first time since the attacks began. One of these reality-aiding monsters had been halted. It hung in space, seemingly confused, as human consciousness told the universe a different story than the one it was trying to write. Push harder, urged So-young. Don't fight it directly. Just convince reality that it was never here. The network of human minds shifted their focus. Instead of seeing a terrible monster, they imagined empty space. Instead of destruction, they visualized peace and wholeness. The devourer began to fade. It's working, breathed General Lee, watching the monitors in amazement. Within minutes, the entity had completely disappeared, not destroyed, not driven away, but simply convinced out of existence by the collective will of humanity. Dr. Hyenwoo. Kim checked his instruments 3 times before believing what he saw. The dimensional tear is closing. Space is returning to normal patterns. President Park felt tears running down his face as he sensed the joy and amazement flowing through the network. 8 billion people had just proved that human consciousness could rewrite reality itself. Send a message to the hegemony worlds, he ordered. Tell them Earth is ready to help. Captain Mira received the message from Earth, while her fleet retreated from yet another lost battle. She read it 3 times before believing what it said. Earth offers military assistance to all hegemony forces. We have developed new methods to fight the devourers. Please respond if you need help. She laughed bitterly. Earth, the primitive humans who barely had space travel 50 years ago. Her fleet had just lost half its ships to 3 devourers at the Vega system. The most advanced weapons in the galaxy were useless against enemies that could make matter stop existing. But then she remembered something. Her intelligence officers had reported strange readings from the Sol system a week ago. A devourer had approached Earth's solar system and then simply vanished. Not destroyed, not retreated, just gone. Communications. Send a reply to Earth, she ordered. Tell them we need all the help we can get. 2 days later, a small human transport ship arrived at her position. Captain Mira watched in amazement as it passed right through the devourer-infested space around the Arcturus system without being attacked. The entities seemed unable to even detect the human vessel. Commander Jae-won-yoon stepped aboard her flagship carrying only a small briefcase. He was a quiet man with calm eyes, nothing like the aggressive warriors most aliens expected humans to be. Captain Mira, thank you for trusting us, he said through the universal translator. My team is ready to help your fleet, your team. Myra looked around the docking bay. I only see you. Jae-won smiled and opened his briefcase. Inside was a device that looked like a silver helmet covered in crystal circuits. My team is 8 billion people back on Earth. This device connects me to all of them instantly. Before Mira could ask more questions, her sensors officer shouted in alarm. 3 devourers materializing around the fleet. All ships prepare for battle. Mira rushed to the bridge with J1 following calmly behind. On the main screen, she watched the familiar horror begin. Space around her ships started rippling and tearing. Through the cosmic wounds, the dark universe of the devourers became visible. All weapons, fire at will, she ordered, though she knew it was hopeless. Her fleet's energy beams passed right through the devourers, without effect. The entities began their terrible work, and the hull of her nearest destroyer started dissolving, atom by atom. Captain May, I asked Jae-won politely. He put on the silver helmet and closed his eyes. Myra watched in confusion as he stood perfectly still, while her fleet was being destroyed around them. But then something impossible happened. The dissolving destroyer stopped dissolving. Its hull, which had been breaking apart at the atomic level, suddenly remembered how to stay together. The metal became solid again, stronger than before. What did you do? Whispered Mira. Jae-won's eyes were still closed, but he was smiling. I asked my friends back home to help. Right now, 8 billion human minds are looking at your ship and deciding that it should exist exactly as it was built, on Earth, in the Quantum Consciousness Network Control Center. Dr. Soyoung monitored the connection to Commander Yoon through his eyes. She could see the battle happening light years away. Around her, millions of people sat in meditation centers, parks, and their homes, all linked to the same network. "Everyone, focus on the alien ships," she said. Her voice carried instantly to every connected mind. "See them as they should be. Whole, strong, protected." 8 billion human minds turned their attention to the distant battle. They didn't see dissolving metal. They saw proud warships crewed by brave people who deserved to live. They didn't see unstoppable monsters. They saw confused entities that had lost their way. Back at the battle, Captain Myra watched her instruments in amazement. Her ships were not just surviving, they were becoming stronger. The Devourers' power was simply not working anymore. "How is this possible?" she asked. "The Devourers exist as shared consciousness that believes reality should decay and die," explained J1, his eyes still closed in concentration. "But human consciousness believes reality should grow and live. When 8 billion minds agree on something, the universe tends to listen." One of the Devourers seemed to notice that its powers weren't working. It turned its attention directly toward the flagship where J1 stood. Immediately, the human commander's expression changed. Sweat appeared on his forehead as he felt the alien consciousness pressing against his mind like a crushing weight. On Earth, Dr. Soyoung felt the attack through the network. "The Devourer is trying to break our connection. Everyone, protect Commander Yun." 8 billion minds formed a shield around their representative. They imagined him surrounded by light, protected by love, strengthened by hope. The assault broke against human determination like waves against a cliff. But the humans didn't stop there. Led by artist Yoonji's visualization techniques, they began to imagine something new for the Devourers. "They're not evil," Yoonji's voice flowed through the network. "They're just lost children from a dying universe. They're hungry and scared, and don't understand that there's a better way." The connected human minds began to see the Devourers differently. Instead of cosmic predators, they saw beings in pain who had forgotten how to create instead of destroy. Instead of reality, they saw consciousness that could learn to build and protect. The change was gradual but unstoppable. The 3 Devourers slowed their attacks, then stopped entirely. For the first time since the invasion began, the entities seemed confused and uncertain. "They're remembering," whispered J1. "The network is helping them remember what they used to be before their universe died." Captain Mira watched in amazement as the dimensional tiers around her fleet began to close. The Devourers didn't retreat or disappear. They simply chose to return to their own reality, taking with them new memories of hope and creation that humanity had shared with them. "Commander Yun," she said quietly, "how many more of your people are out there helping other fleets?" "Right now, about 200 human coordinators are deployed across the galaxy, but they're all connected to the same 8 billion minds back home." He removed his helmet and smiled. "We told you we were ready to help." For the first time in months, Captain Mira felt something she had almost forgotten: hope. 6 months after the last Devourer disappeared, Captain Mira walked through the gardens of the rebuilt United Nations building on Earth. She had never imagined she would visit the human homeworld, much less as an honored guest representing the entire Hegemony Council. The building buzzed with activity as delegates from 12 different alien species worked alongside humans to plan their shared future. Through the windows, she could see the quantum consciousness arrays that had saved the galaxy, giant crystal flowers that still connected human minds across the stars. "Captain Mira, welcome to Earth," said President Sujin Kim as she approached. The human leader looked tired but happy. "Thank you for coming so far to be here, President Kim. After what your people did for us, this is the least we can do," Mira replied. She gestured toward the arrays outside. "Are those still active? Every day? We've learned that consciousness is like a muscle. It gets stronger with Exercise. Our people spend time each day connected to the network, not to fight wars, but to heal and create. In the main assembly hall, representatives from across the galaxy listened as Dr. So-Young Choi explained humanity's discovery to the gathered scientists. We learned that reality isn't as fixed as we thought, she said, standing before a holographic display showing quantum consciousness patterns. When enough minds agree on something, the universe reshapes itself to match that agreement. The knew this instinctively, but they only knew how to destroy. Humans learned to create. Dr. Kala, the hegemony's chief scientist, raised one of her forearms. But how do you control 8 billion minds without losing individual thought? We don't control them, replied Dr. So-Young with a smile. Think of it like music. Every person in our network is like a different instrument. They all play their own notes, but together they create harmony instead of noise. Across the room, philosopher Wu Jin-nam was teaching meditation techniques to a group of alien delegates. His weathered face was peaceful as he guided them through mental exercises. The key is not to force your thoughts, he explained to a tall, gray alien who was struggling with the concept. Let your mind flow like water, but direct that flow toward positive goals. Imagine the reality you want to see, then believe it can exist. Meanwhile, in the Deep Space Monitoring Center, Dr. Hyen-Woo Kim watched his instruments with wonder. The readings showed something that would have been impossible a year ago. Star systems that had been completely erased by the Devourers were slowly reappearing. Professor, look at this, called his assistant Dr. Jin-A Park, pointing at her screen. The Kepler system is showing gravitational signatures again. Hyen-Woo studied the data. The human network has been focusing on those lost systems for months, imagining them back into existence. It's actually working. Around the galaxy, human coordinators worked with local populations to establish new consciousness networks. Engineer Minesio Hans supervised the construction of quantum arrays on dozens of worlds, each one designed to connect local minds to Earth's primary network. On the former hegemony world of Nexus Prime, Commander Jae-Won Yoon sat in meditation with 10,000 alien volunteers. They were all connected through quantum-entangled devices, their minds linked to the growing galactic consciousness network. Focus on your home, he guided them gently. See it as it should be. Clean air, healthy forests, happy families. Don't try to force change. Just imagine what you want and trust the universe to listen. The results were remarkable. Polluted worlds began to heal themselves as millions of minds envisioned cleaner environments. Damaged ecosystems restored themselves when conscious beings remembered how they used to flourish. Even artificial technologies improved as their operators imagined them working more efficiently back on Earth. President Soo-Jin Kim prepared for the most important speech of her career. The Galactic Unity Assembly had asked her to address all civilized worlds simultaneously, using the quantum consciousness network to reach every populated planet at once. She stood in the main hall, surrounded by alien delegates and human advisors. Artist Yoon Ji-yoon had helped her prepare visualization techniques that would carry her words not just as sounds, but as shared experiences and emotions. People of the galaxy, she began, her voice carried instantly across the stars through the network. 6 months ago, we faced extinction. Ancient enemies from another dimension came to destroy everything we had built. Our greatest weapons were useless. Our strongest defenses meant nothing. She paused, feeling the attention of billions of minds focusing on her words. But we learned something important. Reality isn't something that happens to us. It's something we create together, every moment of every day. When we believed in fear and destruction, the universe gave us when we chose to believe in hope and creation, the universe gave us the power to save ourselves. In the monitoring center, Dr. Hyen-Woo watched his readings with amazement. As the president spoke, quantum energy patterns across the galaxy began synchronizing. Billions of minds, on hundreds of worlds were connecting, sharing the same vision of a peaceful, prosperous future. The age of consciousness has begun, President Kim continued. We are no longer separate species competing for resources. We are one galactic community, sharing our dreams and working together to make them real. Captain Mira felt tears running down her face as she experienced the unity flowing through the network. For the first time in her life, she truly understood what humans meant when they talked about hope. Today we choose what tomorrow will bring, the president concluded, and together, we choose light over darkness, creation over destruction, love over fear. The universe is listening, and it will give us exactly what we believe we deserve. As her words ended, something beautiful happened. Across the galaxy, the night skies began to shine brighter. Lost stars flickered back into existence. Dead worlds remembered how to live. The collective consciousness of billions of minds had decided that the universe should be a place of wonder and hope, and the universe agreed.